Hi everyone, this is a lesson today looking at increasing a quantity by a percentage. As before, with yesterday, we are also going to use a calculator for these questions. Question and the starter here are based on the stuff that we did on Tuesday's lesson, where we looked at calculator percentages. Please complete those just now and then come back on for the answers. Right, so question A. We've got to find 25% of 30 metres. There are loads of ways in which we can do this. However, if we have a calculator, and the method I would like you to use today is to start off by dividing your percentage by 100. When you do that, you will create a decimal. 25% as a decimal is 0.25, and then we multiply that by our whole number within the question. Okay, again, just as we did with the lesson on Tuesday. So 0.25 times 30 gives us 7.5 metres as the answer. Question B, we want to take the percentage, divide by 100, that will give us 0.17. We want to times that then by 52. So 0.17 times 52 gives us 8.84, and the grams go on the end. Okay. Hopefully you have looked at the stuff from Tuesday and got on okay with that, and therefore were able to complete those starter questions. Now, what we're looking at today, and again, I'm going to tell you to do this using a particular method. Therefore, when we come to do specifically the Nat 5 level percentage work, you will be able to apply the method more easier. So, increasing by a percentage, the first question we have to do is increase 52 metres by 12%. Now, we could calculate 12% of 52 and then add it on. So, increase, we're always adding. Okay, increase, adding, decreasing, which we'll look at on Friday, we have to then take away the percentage. How we're going to think of this just now is we are going to think of the 52 in terms of a percentage. So 52 in this case is the whole amount that we are given, which means that that relates to 100%. Now, for each of the questions, both today and Friday, we are going to start with 100%. And we're going to say, right, what are we trying to do with the 52? So 100% is, in fact, 52. I want to take the 100% and increase it by 12. So I want to add on 12% to that. 100% plus 12%, add the two numbers together, is 112%. Now, essentially what I'm trying to do then is find 112% of 52. So the first step here is to change 112% to a decimal. So 112, divide that by 100, so I can write that as that there, divide by 100, which equals 1.12. Now the good thing about today's percentages is they'll all end up as 1 point something. So bear that in mind when you're doing your decimals, okay? Now, once I've got that decimal for the new percentage, I want to do 1.12 times by the original, which in this case was 52. So we add on the percentage to 100, we change the new percentage to a decimal, then we times it by the original. So this process here, the percentage as a decimal times by the number, is the same as what we did on Tuesday's lesson. It's just that we've then added on 100 as well to that. So when we complete that calculation, we get 58.24 and our metres go on the end. What we need to watch out for with each of these questions is that the answer has to be bigger than the original, because we're increasing, we're adding something on to it. Okay. The next question is exactly the same in terms of the method. So I want to increase, which means I'm adding on the percentage. The percentage that I want to add on is 3.5, and we assume that the 250 is our 100%. So add on your 3.5% to the 100. And as I said at the start, this may seem like a silly method to you. It might not be the one that you would choose to use. However, I am going to try and drill this into you and get you to use this method, because it will be the one that's actually easiest for us to use when we go on in a couple of periods' time. So we've got 103.5%. We then have to change that to a whole decimal, which is to divide it by 100. That will give us 1.035. Now, with that decimal, just like I did in the previous example, take that decimal and times it by the original amount within the question, which is 250. So to your calculator, 1.035 times 250, we will get 258.75. Okay, there's no units on this one, so our number can stay just stay as it is. As we can see, 258.75 is bigger than 250, so that should make sense. Now, sometimes these questions will appear in a context as well, so with a little bit of a story behind them. This one here tells us that Adam is 135 centimetres tall. Okay, so that's our original amount. We are told that Caitlin is 5% taller. So we know we have to increase, because that's the only thing we're doing today is increasing. But we also know to increase because taller would imply a larger amount, so a bigger amount. So what we want to do with this one again is start with the 100%, add on the percentage that we want to try and add on for Caitlin's height, giving us a total of 105%. Change that to a decimal by dividing by 100. So we get 1.05. We take the 1.05 decimal and times it by the original height. The original height for Adam was 135. So 1.05 times 135. And we get, in this case, 141.75 centimetres. So if Caitlin was 141.75 centimetres, as you can see, that's taller than 135 centimetres, so that does make sense as well. Question 4 has two parts to it. So the first thing we're told is that a shopkeeper decides to raise all of his prices by 15%. So the word here that would tell us we had to increase, or we're adding something on, is the word rise. So that word rise there tells me the price is getting more, it's getting to be a bigger price. So we want to find out the new price of two items. The first item is a jacket worth £20. So that's our original amount is £20. So we take the 100%, we add on the percentage that it has been increased by, and we get 115%. We then have to divide this by 100 to get a decimal, which is 1.15. Then we can multiply that by the original. So 1.15 times by, for A, times by 20. Pop it into the calculator and we get £23. So the jacket, once we've raised it by 15%, gives us £23. The shoes, now they'd also been raised by 15%, so the decimal we're going to use for the shoes is also 1.15. So if we have the questions included, both of these questions with the same scenario, in that the shopkeeper was increasing the price by 15%, then we can use the same decimal. So in this case it's 1.05 times by the 50%. that were given in the question. So £50 the original amount, 1.15 times 50, and we get 57.5 in the calculator. Now if I put a pound sign on the front, I need to also put a 0 on the end and make it £57.50. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you come to look at questions that result in decimals but are also pounds as your units. Okay, make sure, just like I've done with all of these questions, if you have units in the question, you put your units on the answer as well. Okay, that's the extent to what we'll see today. The trickiest of questions will be the ones like 3 and 4, where you have a little story behind them that you have to try and work out the percentage increase and so on from that. Okay, so on the Teams page you will see a worksheet that's got questions there for you to complete. If you can do those, please, just now, and then just join the call if you can. If you need to ask any questions or even send me an email, that would be fine. Okay, thank you.